Oh, I am the Vibe Kage, everyone. I just finished work. My stomach still kind of hurts, honestly. My stomach been hurting. I don't know what the fuck. I think I got like a stomach bug or something. Like some food I just look at and nah. Even if it's like good food I used to eat, my stomach gets tight and it cramps up and it's just like nah, we not eating anything today, my guy. And then I like have hunger pains too, and it like contradicts itself. It's just horrible. But I live, fluids, Gatorade, water, oranges. Oranges are fucking good as fuck when you're having a stomach bug, or any, just in general, the citrus fruit and the magic power of fucking oranges, my guy. The power of fucking oranges. I sponsor a fruit, yes. It's so fucking delicious, but it's not my favorite fruit, but it's probably like the most, beneficial that I could think of, all around when you're, just in general, very fibrous too. So yeah, true shit, you could lose, like, I think at least 3 pounds if you eat oranges, like, an orange a day for breakfast, for 30 days because of the fiber. It just naturally helps clean you out. Using the stems, the peels, use it for teas and detox, man. It works. It helps clean you out, flush out your system, all that good shit. This is just the Vibe giving you some nutrient facts. Now let's get into this. What if Asta had cursed energy? So yes, he still has anti-magic grimoire, but not anti-magic himself since he has no magic. But due to something that I love exploiting, Asta himself said he too feels negative emotions, but he controls it. He retains it, and he doesn't let it consume him, because that's what it means for him to be human. Like, that's his perspective. So, in Jujutsu Kaisen, we know that, cursed energy is, it stems from negative emotions, and that's how it leaks through everyone. Everyone has just that tiniest little bit. Bad negative emotions lead to cursed spirits, cursed objects, and all that shit. Well, in this one, that's also how cursed magic kind of plays into effect. Cursed energy, it helps affect your magic, similar to how it affects your attributes. So those who had high cursed energy tend to have high cursed magic abilities. So, Gordon, he has a lot of cursed type of spells because of his poisons. Yeah, a lot of cursed energy inside of him, which Asta would also be able to sense. Now, keep in mind, this is similar to how Ki would work from Yami, and since he's bringing that from, Japan, because, the devil brought Isekai Yami, which, hell yeah. Now, this is where, it makes me want to almost do, like, the same thing, where Izuku would have dark magic, but it would have to be in the same past time frame. In other words, Izuku would have to grow up to be the captain of the Black Bulls, but there's not enough information or backstory, and I don't have enough time to actually develop the lore. Hey, I love you, my Zither. No, he's a great guy. Good friend. Good comrade. I would drink with Zedder if he was old enough. He is not, though. He is a youngling. However, I will guide him if he asks for advice. I am ancient. I'm crazy as shit, and I do reckless shit a lot, so I know how shit tends to play out. So, yeah, and due to me having a natural curiosity with science, I just naturally provoke people too for social experiments of my own accord, which is also kind of fucked up, but it's shit that happens. Now, back to the what if, because we're not here about that. Here is where things begin. You see, Asta, since he was born without any mana, he would be bullied a lot, he would be picked on, and he would start to work out, he would build his body. One day, because, he's angry, he's, like, letting it all out, but, he's frustrated, but he's retaining it. Yo! Hell yeah. Anyway, it was a joke from his, new video, which I highly recommend. In fact, let's go to that. Let's go to What If Deku Had Amaterasu Flames? Zedder's new What If. Truly something magnificent. See? Is he after that Kami cake? Yes, sir. Booyah. Anyway, back to the what if. As, this is where things get more interesting. You see, in this timeline, as Asta was working out, venting his frustrations, he feels something off. Something, well, not off, but something around him, inside of him. He's just channeling all that frustration, and he's saying, never giving up is my magic. That same mantra that he says, and boom, it happens. Something within him, sparks. The fact that he controlled all this, frustration and emotions, it clicked within him. His cursed energy started to flow around him. And he could sense it just ever so slightly. It was very thin miasma, in a sense. That's what he imagined. It was weird because now his eyes were actually open to how cursed energy flows with people. And it would not be the same as mana. Not even close. Cursed energy is more like dark, negative emotion. So those who are hateful, or those who are not necessarily hateful. Yeah, no, because then the royals would have a lot of cursed energy. Nah. I mean, they are fucked up people, but no. No, this is more like shit like that. I'm also going to be tying the lore of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like Henry's, illness. I'm pretty much a heavenly restriction. It exists. And also, in a sense, too, has a heavenly restriction. They both have similar things, but, Henry's his body is fragile, but he has this ability to absorb an insane amount of mana and then manipulate something with such keen focus and degree that it's just like fucking OP as shit. Be honest. If Henry lost that curse where he doesn't have to suck up mana, he would be fucking broken as fuck. A house that you can create and, as a raging bull, a bull fighting mecha? Hell yeah, that's fucking broken as shit. Back to the what if. You see, Asta, who has no mana, is naturally gifted with a physical body that would be 10 times, his natural body, peaked. In regular canon Asta, it was. Nani? Oh, the video? Yeah, that shit was lit. Was lit. I laughed a lot. True shit. I always thought a lot was A-L-O-T, just like straight, not L-A. No. Rewrite. A space L-O-T. I didn't know it was two separate things. I thought it was like, one thing. My bad. True shit. Now, this is where our story continues on. You see, Asta, he has no mana, but he has cursed energy. Now, that's another thing. It's pretty much cursed energy or mana trade-offs. Now, Yuno is something else, too. See, his love of mana also means no cursed energy whatsoever. So, yet again, another antithesis to Asta. Asta, who has a body built with no mana and is brokenly physically strong and now has awakened the cursed energy. And then he'll get anti-magic. Who is loved by mana, no cursed energy, but hey, fucking magic is broken as shit. So, here's where things are going to become, unique. Asta, and because, he's not the first or the only person, but, no response. Oh well. I think it'd be easier if I just do that. That way I know. Anyway, back to the what if, like I was saying. Asta in this timeline, he understands that, this weird power. When he tried to talk to, father, and then, oh damn, I forgot what the father's name is. No, it's just like, I always remember him calling him father. So no, he talks to the priest and Sister Lily about his cursed energy. He even focuses in his hands and his body. He pushes it outward a little bit, like to what he can manage. And they can't see anything, but they could feel this weird, presence off of Asta. Like some sort of energy is radiating off of him, but they can't actually see it. It's a similar like hockey. The way the presence just like, it's strange. It's not necessarily ominous, but it's intimidating. There's this, sense of negativity, just a hint, since it does stem from Asta's negative emotions. But he's in control of it. He's not letting it succumb to his rage or any of that. He takes control and the energy just flows through him. He demonstrates something that he practiced because, he worked out a lot. So obviously I'm going to give him the divergent fist. He punches a tree and then a bigger boom happens. First an indent of Asta's fist and then a second impact. Their eyes widen because, they can't feel it, but they know it's there. It's strange. It's like they're aware of it, but they have to kind of build it. And yes, they can actually learn more about cursed energy, but it turned more into their cursed magic spells, which they wouldn't really do. So, that being said, continuing on. They're just aware that Asta has something, but it's not really mana. They don't sense anything from Asta. And yeah, Asta's freakishly strong. They know this already. The fact that he could just indent a fucking wood, an oak tree, easy. I didn't say what kind of tree, now that I realize that. No, but he breaks through a tree easy, and then a second impact. It's strange. Asta explains that this weird energy, he actually admits to Father that it's strange. He admits that it was at the height of his negative emotions, right when he, felt like actually giving up, but then he remembered his motto, never giving up is that's my magic. So, he took all in that frustration, and he said he'll turn it into power and motivation and still be a great sorcerer, a great wizard. And then it kind of just started to flow around him. He became aware of things. He could sense people, but, the way they use their mana and the more they build up their mana, nothing. And he even admits he can't sense any of this same energy in Yuno, which, kind of admits he does have negative emotions sometimes, but, it doesn't really plague him like how it would Asta, since, this is where there was this awkward tension. And, Asta has to say it. Because you have a lot of mana. You have way more magic than the whole village combined. There would be this awkward silence, but, Asta breaks the silence simply by putting it, but now Asta has something else. Something that, he sees he has, an ever-flowing amount. And, the people around here, there is, placating. There's a bit of cursed energy around the area. And Asta can sense it. Soon enough, he'll have the ability to actually cultivate the cursed energy into an orb and absorb it. Similar to how Momoshiki could do it with, his Renegon palms. That's how Asta would have, one of his new curse techniques, just the curse absorption. He pulls it on, focuses it into one point, then he can consume it. It would replenish his body, and if it was more than what he had, it starts to overflow him, and then he has to rail it back in. It's similar to how, I don't want to say how Cell or Boo absorb people, but kind of at the same time. It would be like absorbing power, overflowing, but Asta has to rail in that cursed energy back in. He has to keep it in check. He can't let it. Nah. He keeps that shit in check, man. Now, to continue on, there is something else. Sister Lily and Father actually, I'm not gonna look up his name right now, so I'm sorry, but no, I'm not. They tell Asta that this and power, just, if you have to think of negative emotions to stem from it, is it really something you want to do? Asta's just like, no, that's not it. They're like, what do you mean? It's not me being angry. He admits he wasn't angry when he threw that punch. He recalled all that, emotions that it brought up, but it doesn't make him angry. He remembers it all, and it's motivation for him. It's the fuel for his power. It's his trigger in a sense, for right now at least. And then boom, he was able to unleash it. And yeah, they're kind of confused by this. They admit that they're not too keen or thrilled if Asta does this, but they understand that he wants to be the Wizard King. And well, hell with it. Who knows? Maybe there is a grimoire for this, so, fuck it. Go for it. Go for it. Well, they don't curse, but yeah, they're just like, but yeah, why not, Asta? Go for it. Just be careful. They even tell Asta that they're going to be watching him, just to make sure that he doesn't lose himself. Gatorade. Delicious. Now, in this timeline, our time skip goes on. Asta's physical strength and attribute is just insane. He is physically at where he would be post time skip right before the war. How bulky he is, and where he can already do the flying on his Demon Slayer sword. Yeah, he's already that bulky. He's fit. And true shit, if it was just like, if, how it is more like here, if, women were shallow and they went for looks and how people are built, then, they would love Asta insanely. But since there's no speck of mana, nah. Now, Asta's curse magic level, let's put it at Jugo. Yeah, Jugo strength. The volcanic one. Yeah, he's about that powerful. Now, Asta has developed a few other techniques and something unique that I'm also giving him because I fucking can. Asta, due to Sister Lily and Father watching him, and they wanted to test out something. And that is to see if Asta can use, more of a strategical advantage to this, since they noticed that, when you have less mana, your spells are more tricky or more, unique for boosting, something like that. So how could we do it like this? So Asta soon is taught something by Sister Lily that he figures out really quickly, because he thought it would be really fucking cool to do, especially combining it with his Divergent Fist. So it's a combo attack, which he can do at the same time, but he can't do it consistently because it requires a fuck ton of cursed energy. But yes, the 7-3 ratio weak point by Nanami. Yes. I fucking love that move. That move is so fucking OP. So he has that technique added on. So that 7-3 ratio he finds, he hits instant weak point, different from his actual double impact from Divergent Fist. Now, something else that we add on to him, because it's fun, is the fact that Asta has a, very fun thing, and that's the boogie woogie technique. And he's actually created a few cursed objects himself, a few tools, that he actually did find some objects, a cursed katana, which I'll explain later, and yeah. Similar to, think of how Zoro would do it. So it'll be the fourth anti-magic sword when he gets anti-magic, because it would go into the grimoire, but it's also a cursed sword. So, and it's fucking giant as shit. I'm literally giving him Drilkyu Milhawk, the greatest swordsman in all of One Piece. Yodo, the world's strongest black blade. That's Asta's sword. He wears it on his back like it's fucking nothing. He is the only one who was actually able to pick it up, and it was insane. And here's the thing. Similar to how, I'm not gonna lie, also taking this from One Piece, Enma, another sword from One Piece. This one is from Kozuki Oden, the one who was able to injure Kaido. His sword Enma had a tendency to steal and absorb cursed energy from people. In this timeline, it would be different. If you grabbed it and you didn't have a lot of cursed energy, what it would do is start to suffocate your mind with dark and negative emotions, fill you with nightmares and dread until you start actually building cursed energy. So people would actually commit suicide with the blade so many times because in their mind, you know, they could feel it. They wanted death. They wanted to fight. The sword itself craved battle. And when Asta grabbed it, yeah, he could feel it, but at the same time, when he saw that it was pulling in its cursed energy, or when he fed it the cursed energy, the nightmares subsided and he started to get along with the blade. He actually started to make a mental connection. Eventually, he would meet, the previous user in a dream, after training with the blade for so long. He would see Strategical Milhawk and he would explain the spirit of Yodo is a part of him, and now, by him I mean Milhawk, and that's why he's here. He tells Asta that Q, he didn't have a lot of mana, but he was able to incorporate it into his blade, and he had a lot of cursed energy. He was able to not fix, but imbue the cursed energy into the blade, and the blade was able to do things that people couldn't do naturally. Only one person was able to rival him, and that was, oh, you guessed it, the elf leader Lich, who had sword magic. His Demon Slayer sword, his Demon Dweller, and Demon Destroyer swords could rival his blade, his yodo, and they had no cursed energy at the time. Keep in mind, he was an elf, so it's pure sword mana. Not sword mana, but sword magic, and he is loved by mana, so there would be no need for cursed energy. So, yeah, elves don't really have it, and that's why the third eye is more of a forbidden thing, and that's why they're more boosted in this timeline. So, yes, cursed energy is more of a secret thing, kind of like how Ki was with Yami, but now it's this Black Clover secret thing. Does that mean there's Setsuna fingers? No. But, if you notice something unique is Lich's devil had how many arms? 4. What are you doing? I think you know. How many fingers would that be? 20. Yes. What are you doing? Listen. Well, something unique that happened after, Lich became the anti-magic devil, not the anti-magic devil, but the devil, and, he got killed. His cursed body, the demonic statue that he became, he was telling Lumiere to make sure he cuts off his hands, so no spells could be weaved from his corpse. Which they're like, the fuck? But they're like, hey, elves, our bodies rot differently, it'd be more like a mummified thing, so I need you to really incinerate my body, So, shit was like that. Another final attack. And, well, they severed his hands, blasted him, and only his fingers remained. And, well, weirdly enough, his 10 fingers flooded into the grimoire. And, the grimoire is now black, so they're confused on what happened. So there is a lot of cursed energy in there. And yes. So when Asta gets to grimoire, you guessed it, there will be the 20 fingers of Lich's cursed devil body. One that would actually help Asta harness the anti-magic as well, because it's gonna help his body develop more curse magic. Now, this doesn't mean he'll inherit Lich's soul. No. You gotta remember, Liebe is in there. So what this is doing is going to give Liebe a chance to incarnate into the real world. And, it's gonna end differently when they realize, oh, we're technically brothers. Oh, devil contract union. What happens when I eat all of the final fingers? Let's find out. What do you mean? Well, let's see. No, we'll get to that later. That's future visions. Now, it gives you something to look forward to. Sorry, drank more Gatorade. It's the cool blue one, so it's blue raspberry. Excuse me. Now, back to the what if. Like I was saying, Asta, in this timeline, very fucking different, my boy. Very fucking different. He's a lot stronger, and his cursed energy and his cursed blade, yodo, are very fucking OP. Yodo allows him to slice through almost anything. Similar to how Jack the Ripper and Yami's Dimension Slash, his cursed energy will adapt and start to learn how to cut through anything. Similar to Kenpachi Zaraki's sword. He's saying, oh, if you were like metal, you should have told me. I would have tried to cut metal. Shit. I'm Kenpachi. There is nothing I can't cut. Shit like that. Now, continuing on, as we go further, and Asta, they go to the grimoire selection. Nothing happens. And while Asta still carries that black blade around, because fuck it, ain't nobody gonna fuck with this motherfucker if he carrying that weapon. Go ahead and try and mug him when he's carrying that. That shit fucking heavy. Asta would legit throw them the sword. They'd catch it. It'd crush their hands. Asta would be point blank with the 7-3 divergent fist ratio combo. Breaking skulls, my guy. Now, continuing on, shit happens. Would get his 4-leaf, and Asta would feel a lot of rage and resentment, but then he starts to channel it again, focusing it within his body. This makes his cursed energy surge and flow throughout his body, which channels something else. Something reacts due to Asta's sudden rise of cursed energy, and that would be the 5-leaf grimoire. So, within everyone's notice erupts a dark grimoire, glowing with this dark red, ominous power oozing out in front of Asta. Asta's sword starts to, vibrate and react. So Asta has to grab yodo. He pulls it out and draws it. As the grimoire opens, Asta can feel that his sword is being pulled towards it. And everyone's just seeing this. And Asta's just like, what the? Yodo, what are you? He's trying. He's resisting. As eventually the sword is going into the grimoire. He has to let go eventually because, it's going in and he can't go into the grimoire like that. So, yeah, the sword goes, it flips, new writing is appearing, and then, it turns a page as a different sword would come out. Asta would grab the anti-magic Demon Slayer sword, and when he pulls it out, this has a unique probability. This is how I'm going to incorporate other curse techniques. Now, there is something special about the Demon Slayer sword besides its, wide-ass base that would let him baseball bat every fucking mana hit. And that is the curse energy inside of it. When it resonates with Asta, it lets him do the same techniques as Malevolent Shrine. And, yeah. So he has, I think it was Carve and Disintegration by Setsuna. So, excuse me. One would be a single swing, and that's Carve. Disintegration would be a multiple slash attack, which, because of this, he kind of gets Black Slash early too. Not too early, but he'll develop it. And same with the Black Divider. Without the anti-magic blade? Without anti-magic form? Well, yeah, his body is fucking at the same peak where he's already, done the Black Devil form countless times, broken his limits so many times. Jesus Christ, watch the anime, read the manga. Now, like I was saying, Asta, everyone sees, he gets this sword, And what's weird is Asta knows, for some reason, that it's anti-magic. He doesn't really understand it, but he also gets, you know, the words cursed energy and anti-magic in his head. As he pulls out this demon slayer sword and he wields it and he realizes, it's similar weight to Yodo. A little bit more hefty. He realizes that. And then he not harnesses, but understands that something is in that sword. He can feel it because he's aware of cursed energy, so he knows how power flows. He would shut his eyes as slowly but surely anti-magic would start to radiate from the blade ever so slightly, like a little just ooze just outside of the edges, and everyone starts to see it. They can't feel it either. As Yuno looks at Asta, they look at each other. They know what they both take a stance. Asta, he's focusing more and more as the anti-magic is becoming more refined. The edge of the blade is not fully there, but it's oozing a little bit. And then, well, yeah. Now, motherfucker. Would charge a giant wind mana blast towards Asta. And he does launch one at full power, and everyone sees this. Asta would rush, and he thinks it would throw a slash attack, but he also wants to see what happens, when he cuts the wind attack itself. He's not sure. So he slashes forward, cuts the spell, it just wind disperses everywhere. But then, weirdly enough, Yuno still gets a weird, slight little cut. Asta wasn't close to him, and everyone was kind of confused. There's no blood or anything. It's just his clothes just have a, thing cut through it. Looks down, and he kind of looks annoyed. But then he smirks at Asta, as he's just like, well, I don't know what kind of magic that is, but I still can't sense it. Asta boldly and proudly says, I'm gonna call this anti-magic. Everyone's just like, it spreads. Anti-magic. So rumors spread throughout all the capital, and soon enough, 3 people visit Asta. Each separately, of course. One being the Wizard King Julius, who asks Asta about this anti-magic. He's just like, wizard nerd, not wizard nerd, but magic nerd. They're like, oh, yes, please do tell me, please show me. Asta would show both Yodo and the Demon Slayer sword. Now, something that actually did annoy Asta was the fact that Yodo now looked rusted a little bit. Worn down, but he also realized that now anti-magic is also flooding within Yodo, but Yodo still has that cursed energy draw within him. And, he's starting to pour more cursed energy into the Demon Slayer sword and becoming more aware of what this anti-magic is. Julius nods, and he understands that when he grabbed either sword, and they were fucking heavy, that they would be siphoning his mana. And then when he grabbed Yodo, not only did it siphon his mana, but it made him think of negative things, and he could feel it draining something else within him. Something within his own emotions. Like it was draining his very, spirit, but not his actual soul. Making him bummed out in a sense. He chuckles as he asks Asta how is he able to wield the cursed blade Yodo. Asta saying he keeps a calm mind. He understands something. He has no magic. And it frustrated him for so long. Gross. Mucus. Now, back to the word of as like I was saying, Asta's saying my bad. Fuck. Anyway. Asta tells the Wizard King, because he had already, found out at a young age when he focused that negative emotion that he felt from, the discrimination looks that he would get by not having any magic. He was built like a fucking brick wall, my guy. So why are they hating him? Sure he doesn't have any mana, but look what he can do with his physical strength. He can make up for the shit like that. Dear God. he was able to fucking suplex bears. Headlock them, fucking chokehold them. Beasts, mana beasts, would get their shit punched by Asta. Ever since he learned about his cursed techniques and cursed energy, he helped Hodge Village by going hunting a lot. And they were able to get a steady supply of meat for a good amount of time and helped make the village slightly more wealthier. Got kind of pissed at this. But sure enough, it helped them, get a unique rivalry. So Asta, developed his curse techniques fighting against wild animals, and Yuno would go into very, very dense mana places and get control of mana. So Yuno's already getting a better grasp of what mana control is for him. And yeah. Ah, my neck. Now, here's where some things are strange. Due to some shit. Now, everyone who has spread the word about Asta having anti-magic, one person who saw it, and he was curious about it because, he knows that, the exams are coming up, but, there are other methods to recruit people, and if he can get someone like, who can cancel out magic, takes a puff of his cigarette, he realizes that could be very fucking useful. So yeah, Captain Yami would visit Asta when he's at Hodge Village. He would have 2 other people escorting him. This would be someone named Finral, and, well, obviously his ride has to be there, so portals. And then the other person who's there is someone who they're hoping would help convince Asta, since they two are, someone who is from a peasant, Forsaken Realm, a peasant, a commoner, not really the most equipped with mana, but, his fire magic is still something, and he made himself, he worked hard, he developed his skills, it's Magna, so, yeah, the 2 are there, and, with Captain Yami, and, well, yeah, things go kind of strange. They meet Asta, Sister Lily, Father, the other kids, and they ask Asta about, anti-magic, and about his swords. Yami would see them. Nane. What? Now, as Yami would see the cursed sword yodo, he would have heard about it and how it made people go insane. He didn't want to even touch it. He's just like, no thanks. Asta tells him that, when the Wizard King came and asked him about his anti-magic, and he grabbed the cursed swords, he told Asta that the anti-magic swords do drain people's mana whenever they hold them. So, him not having mana actually has a good thing. Yami's just like, interesting. So what's this other shit I hear? Other weird power that you have. Asta chuckles nervously as then he explains that would be yodo and its cursed energy. This time he explains how cursed energy works. He shows off the divergent fist and then the 7-3 ratio. But the example that he does, and this one was a good one because everyone loved it. The kids love every time he does this, as, he grabs a rubber ball, flows a bit of his cursed energy into it, and then he chucks the bitch at a wild animal. They were at the forest, and Asta had already figured out the 7-3 calculation. The ball hits the boar right in the side. It twists, causing the boar to, flip, rotate like it was hit by the Rasengan, honestly, and it spins forward. Now, this is something unique. The 7-3 ratio spin because he's using a ball. That's the only reason why. And also it's because of the spin technique, so, the 16.9 ratio, but no. That's a different ratio. But no, the 7-3 ratio hit, they see it, and they're like, but that thing was huge. Yeah. It's not just the cursed energy technique, it's the fact that, he explains the 7-3 ratio. He makes a weak point after, looking, analyzing, and he sees it. He calculates it and chucks it. It hits, and it makes a weak point. Even if things have high mana, he can still chuck it and hurt it. He has physical force to, outweigh it. And now that he has some practice with his anti-magic, yeah, it's interesting. Yami would tell Asta that he's looking forward to seeing him at the exams, and that, Yami kind of already is just telling Asta, as he pulls out a black robe, you know, you can just show off whatever you want at the exams, but when it comes to, selection time and you go up there, because he tosses Asta the black robe, put this on. Asa would like have the star eyes as he's just like, really? He nods, surprised at this. And, well, yeah. He was kind of confused. And, well, some shit. Now, the other person who wanted to meet Asta was, well, William Vengeance, due to, well, Patri. Patri had heard about this anti-magic, and then, the sword description annoyed him, and he needed to find out. So, he's going to be watching, but not taking over from the mask, not doing that. So, he's going to try his best not to lose his shit when not Patri, but Vengeance meets Asta. Ooh, I'll watch that later, because in like 20 more minutes. Yeah, I can do it. Now, like I was saying, Asta, in this timeline, he had flexed with Captain Vengeance, showing the anti-magic and explaining his cursed energy. And, well, he blushes a little bit when he explains that, he pulls out the black bull robe as, he explains Captain Yami kind of told him when he goes to the entrance exams, do his best. And then when it comes to, people who are going to want, nominations and recruitment, hey, I'm already a member of the Black Bulls, guys. I just wanted to flex. Vengeance chuckles a little bit because he's saying that is kind of like Yami. And, well, Patri's just like, he's a problem. That grimoire, that's Lich, that's his sword. And he tainted it. He tainted it with this cursed energy and anti-magic bullshit. But, something that surprised Patri when he heard Asta say it is that the anti-magic was from the grimoire. Well, when he told Vengeance, it's not Patri, but, he tells him the anti-magic was given to him when he got the grimoire. It was when he controlled the rage that he felt by not getting a grimoire and everyone laughing at him. All that resentment and rage, that negative emotion, he focused it and he didn't let it overtake him. He didn't succumb to his hatred. He hates how people view him because he doesn't have any mana like this. And then, sure enough, he was gifted something that, only he could do because, according to the Wizard King, and he does say the Wizard King too because, well, this is a captain, so of course he can mention the Wizard King. He explains that the swords, as, he does pass the Demon Slayer sword to Vengeance, and Vengeance does not grab, but touch the blade, and he feels his mana being drained, and Patri's surprised. Asta tells him, the swords are draining people's mana. If Asta had mana, he wouldn't be able to do this. These swords are fucking heavy. He does not know what happened to these swords, but yeah, he saw that this grimoire is old and worn out, but he doesn't care. He loves the fact that he got a grimoire. He feels blessed. He feels honored. Which, stroked Patri's ego a little bit with how he said it, because this is Lich's grimoire. But it still annoys him that this monolith human has his master's grimoire. So, time skip. Well, no. Hold up. When Yuno visits, comes back from his training, Vengeance would see and ask who he is. Would explain that he is, oh, well, I can't, well, spoiler alert, but it's, Grimberry, Gringleberry. Anyway, no, he explains that he's and, well, he's also from Hodge, He's, you know, the wielder of the four leaf. Which, Vengeance was just like, my, do you mind if we, have a quick battle? As, Vengeance saying he has world tree magic and he never fought anyone with a four leaf. So it's something that appeals to him. Something that piques his interest. Someone who is loved by mana, in a sense, because of the four leaf, luck. So, they have a quick battle session. And, well, one thing that surprises, Vengeance was the fact that Yuno's mana output was already, closing in on third cat, like, I think it was third intermediate? Hold on, let me check this again. So, is high class, first class, intermediate, growing and starting to reach the level of, senior class, senior, rank, which is the third rank, not the fourth rank, but at the fifth rating, which is the weakest one. Which, he's surprised because, hey, this kid just got his grimoire, no? But he explains he's been training his ass off before he even got his grimoire with his mana and mana control, doing multiple spells and harnessing different techniques. Well, this pleases Vengeance, and he does something similar to what Iruka-sensei did to Naruto. He would take off his golden dawn robe and place it on Yuno, telling him, do what, since Yami's planning his own flex, let's do this. Well, let's do something similar. Rather than, the people going in and, seeing you, when it comes to the entrance exam, show up wearing it and say you're here to prove why Vengeance gave you this robe. And, smiles, thanks him, they salute each other, and they're off. Walks in with the golden dawn robe, father and Lily, the kids, are just like, yes! The whole village is just like, yeah! Celebrating Asta and Yuno. And, well, they're actually all having a good time. They do keep it a secret because the captains asked them to. Yami is scary and, well, they do love Captain Vengeance, so yeah. Water. Excuse me. Now, back to the order. Like I was saying, in this timeline, things go differently because of this. Now, Asta would still trains with Franz Kruger, the Wind Spirit, not the Wind Spirit, but the Wind Diamond General, former Wind Diamond General, but something unique. Asta tells Yuno, this guy has wind magic, but before you get too hyper excited, his grimoire is not of here. He's technically a former Diamond General. A what? Diamond General. An enemy. No. Hear me out. Hear him out. Long story, explaining, all this good jazz. And, well, something unique is Asta, will tell Fonzo Kruger that what if he can get him a position on the Black Bull one? They're the worst of the worst, so, a former, Diamond General would probably be useful. He pulls out his Black Bull robe, pulls out his Golden Dawn robe. They tell Fonzo Kruger what had happened, all this good jazz. He thanks Asta, but he declines, saying that no, man, no, he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to live a peaceful life with his wife. He misses his wife. But he first has to get a lot of money. Because his wife thinks he's rich and he's broke. He's a bum right now, and he can't have that. No. So, I thank you, kid, but I gotta go. Training. Still good shit. He actually does help, jump into third-rate senior class. So, yeah. Pretty good. Pretty fucking good for Now, he has developed mana skin, and he is starting to somewhat understand the concept of mana zone. Asta, on the other hand, has started to develop the concept of, you guessed it, domain expansion. You see, let's cover this real quick. One day, Asta's training, you wielding both Yodo and the Demon Slayer sword, one in each hand, feeling the anti-magic and channeling cursed energy through both, allowing both to flow into him, which it's weird because he's starting to get visions of Lich's past and his memories and all this good jazz as then the grimoire opens and a finger appears. Asta, he's still meditating and closing, so he's not aware of this, but the finger does go over to Asta. Asta, he's panting, and it's weird because he starts to scream in agonizing pain because he feels the anti-magic starting to flow into him a lot. As then, the finger just... Asta then just, lets go of the Demon Slayer sword and Yodo. They fall to the ground, there's no more anti-magic. But an insane amount of cursed energy starts to explode inside of Asta. Now, remember how, Sekuna had those markings on his body? And similar to how the reincarnated elves had markings on their body, similar to how curse marks work, similar to how the karma seal works, all that good jazz, it's happening again. And now it's with Asta. This time, his body, on his chest, I felt it coming too. Damn. That's what she said. You bastard. Anyway, back to the what if. Like I was saying, a marking like a crest, a simple black shuriken would form on Asta's chest. I couldn't find a black shuriken in time for this thumbnail. My bad. Anyway, and this was originally going to be what if Asta had curse magic, but I changed it because this is more entertaining for me. Now, like I was saying, he gains this ability and, something unique after he consumed the finger is he met Liebe for the first time. Liebe shows Asta, the memories of Lich that, each finger would give him. So this is the first couple years of Lich's life, and it ends with him meeting Tatya. And, well, Liebe says he knows the whole story since, he's already, eaten the 20 fingers himself, and now the 20 fingers were a part of him. He actually gouges out his own stomach, like his own devil arm goes into his stomach and pulls out the other 19 fingers, and it shocked Asta, as Liebe was laughing. He doesn't say his name is Liebe either. He's just like, I'm the anti-magic devil, bitch. Now, Asta, on the other hand, he's not really terrified, but he feels the fact that this guy has so much fucking cursed energy. Like, way fucking more than Asta. Now, this video is almost over, that's why I opened the door. Like I was saying, I've been in the car just recording. Now, Asta, dear God, Asta and Liebe, they actually make a binding vow. Different from the devil contracts. Now, this binding vow was the fact because Liebe, made Asta eat the finger. And that is, when Asta consumes each finger, his cursed energy would multiply double. Each time by 2, a times 2 boost. And each time he consumes a finger, a new cursed ability, a cursed technique would come. Now, here's what Liebe decides to tell Asta. Since this cursed energy is different from wizardry, what do you want to call it? What do you want to call these techniques, these abilities, Asta? These powers that you will gain. Yeah, that means 20 curse techniques. So, besides Boogie Woogie Divergent Fist, what is he going to get? Well, the first one's going to be Black Flash, obviously. As, he even tells him this is the simplest one that he could give him. And that is pretty much an augmented version of the not Black Flash, but an augmented version of his Divergent Fist. And that how... It's a technique that he could stack with other techniques. Since its main focus is you're harnessing and controlling your cursed energy to the point of such perfection not perfection, but such expertise that it hits with 1 trillionth of a second. Space would slightly distort and your cursed energy turns black, similar to how our anti-magic is. Our?
Oh, yes. Each time you eat a finger, a fragment of my anti-magic starts to dwell within you. Slowly but surely it will start to flow naturally, similar to how the other people have mana. You will have anti-mana with cursed energy.
But what happens to me?
You lend me your body for a time. I lend you my power.
But why?
There are some things we need to do.
Liebe starts to twitch in rage and anger. And, he feels the cursed energy rising, Asta does, as Asta tells him, what incredible power! Your cursed power is so insane! Liebe chuckles as he's saying it's only this powerful because he learned how to fully harness his rage.
I want you to kill someone. Someone who's trapped right now. But I know they're planning something. Something that he wants out. I want revenge for what he did to her.
Who?
None of your business.
Is it the woman that I saw in the dream? In the memory?
No. They are not the same. The fingers are giving you Lich's memories. The first 10 will. The next 10 will give you mine.
Now, Asta, he's saying, do I even technically have a choice? I already ate a finger. Liebe chuckles. But, yeah, it would be as simple as after the 10 fingers, that would be it. You wouldn't get Liebe's power, and there would be no more maxing out on the anti-magic. But, Asta agrees. Binding vow is done, but it's not the same as a Devil Unity contract, since that would be Asta and Liebe and a different thing. Now, this changes our story ever so slightly. Asta continues on with his life. Now, here's where things, change at the Magic Knight entrance exam. Asta, who doesn't really have cursed energy, fuck. No, he has cursed energy, a fuck ton of it. He doesn't have magic. My bad. The anti-magic birds don't bother him, but they do, nest on him in a similar, Itachi god vibe with the crows and the ravens. Oh, crows, my bad. No, but in a similar god vibe like Itachi with his crows. The anti-magic birds just, they're around Asta, but they don't peck at him. They're just like, he is the chosen one. Sekre has followed in. She's the one on top of Asta's head. They're looking at Sekre, and she's just like, she is the... I don't know why I did that voice. Wrong. This is the anti-magic birds, not Liebe. My bad. Now, anti-magic birds would be like, and she is the queen. Now, time skip. No, not time skip. We're at the entrance. Fuck, my bad. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, back to the what if. As like I was saying, Asta flexes on people. When it comes to launching out magic projectiles, rather than shooting out anti-magic, he would pull out yodo, coat it with black anti-magic, and then launch the black slash technique. Cutting up things, and everyone's surprised. They still can't sense any magic. And Asta does register this as anti-magic. And, well, it just so happens to be anti-sword. They're not entirely sure. I finished my second Gatorade. Meaning this video will end soon once I get thirsty again. Now, that was good shit. Now, everyone was kind of nervous when it came to the whole fighting thing. Asta was flexing on people by flying on his sword, which they were like, what? And yeah. Now, from Yuno's perspective, everyone was in awe that he showed up in the Golden Dawn's robe. Asta knew what they were each planning. Vengeance was smirking, and Yami was just like, oh, you motherfucker! Oh, you motherfucker! So you tried to poach him before? No. I knew you were trying to do that shit. Yami's just like, good thing I did it first. Vengeance is just like, why are you getting mad then? If you even admitted that you did it first. Yami's just like, that is not the point. Vengeance is just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is, but hypocritical speaking. No, not hypocritical speaking, but, despite you speaking like a hypocrite, bygones will be bygones. You have your anti-magic prodigy, I have my 4-leaf prodigy. Toodaloo. Each having their own, snarky, shit-eating conversations. Now, this is where our timeline changes slightly, since the fights are very different. No one wants to fight Asta, no one wants to fight Yuno. So the two decide to flex and blast everything that they have at each other. Asta, swinging anti-magic swords, black slashes. Yuno was flying in the wind. He wasn't even flying on a broom. He was flying with just his wind mana in the air, naturally, which everyone was surprised at, and they were kind of jealous. They were jelly. Now, the captains did think he was using mana zone for a second, but then they realized, no. It's more like, very thin mana skin. Nice. Good boy, good. Bravo. But they're also seeing, the Golden Dawn, robe, and then they're giving Vengeance these, you motherfucker, you. Vengeance is just, shit-eating grin. Just like, hey, y'all know the rules. We don't have to wait here. There are other methods. And, well, yeah. And then the other captains are just, looking at Asta keeping up with Yuno. Who he's flying with wind. Asta would throw the Demon Slayer sword, jump on it, fly, and using Yodo to launch black slashes. It works really well. Now, he's combining the 7-3 with the black slash. So 7-3 black slash ratio. Fuck, my tongue. I bit my tongue. That shit hurt. Now, so this is causing weak points to go into not Asta's, but Yuno's wind magic attacks. So they're cutting through and they're doing damage when they hit the pavement. Yuno is able to dodge them, but, still break. Now, after 5 minutes, time! Asta and, they're both panting, but they fist bump each other. Asta decides to remove his commoner shirt, rip off his everything. Flex, show off the guns and the muscles. Just looks, you're an idiot. As Asta, goes to his backpack, pulls out the black robe, the Black Bull robe, dons it proudly as... Damn, I knocked over my empty bottle. Like I was saying, Asta dons the Black Bull robe proudly, walking next to Yuno, as everyone's just like, Nani! I'm gonna be watching anime after this. No, Anime King. Finish my anime first. Yeah. Now, like I was saying, Asta, flexed on everyone. Yami now is getting dirty looks as he's just like, ha, I love this kid. He decided, bigger flex, muscles, now cover them with the robe. As, Gordon, Finral, who's, he's happy to see Asta again. And he's just like, did he get more muscly? The fuck? But no, shit like that. Now, something unique that happens when Asta sees Finral again. And this time he sees something attached to Finral. to his back. Now, Captain Yami could sense that there's this weird negative presence around, Finral, but he couldn't really tell what it was. Now, this is a cursed spirit, and they do kind of exist. Now, this is the one that came from Finral's resentment towards himself, and Asta legit just like, cuts it. Disappeared, slashed Finral, but not really slashing Finral with yodo. The cursed spirit screamed out in like, as then Finral's magic just doubled, almost exploding out of him. And he's just like, what the? Asta's just like, I don't know what was up with that thing, but it seemed like it was, pushing down your mana, so I helped you. What thing? Wait, you didn't see it? Captain Yami was saying, wait, there was something there? I just thought he was, putting himself in a bad mood. He's been glum over it for a while now. And this is when they're at the Black Bull base, by the way. So, yeah. Yami's going to get the fuck out of there once everyone gives him the dirty looks. He already got what he wanted. Toodaloo. Bye-bye, motherfucker. Shit like that. So, that happens really, really fucking well. And, well, Asta explains he saw something, looked like a weird troll. And yeah, they're gonna be like deformed gremlin troll doll things. And it just, looked like how it was just digging into Finral's mana. On one hand, eating the mana over and over again. So Asta's just like, not letting you do that to my new teammate. Slice! Then all the mana that it was pretty much suppressing from Finral and consuming for its existence was just, sent back to Finral, and Finral's mana doubled. Which Yami was just like, so you could see him. I was able to sense it somewhat. Did you have cursed energy too? He looks at him and he does see that Yami does have a significant amount. But he also senses a good amount in Henry. Now, I'm going to make a poll on whether you guys want Asta to cure Henry or not with this, but I don't know. So, yeah, let's do that. This will be the end of the video. So, Asta would actually ask to meet Henry, the one with the most cursed energy. And, well, yeah. This, before he meets the rest of the Black Bulls, Yami and Finral approve, and he's just like, he feels like he knows something that could help him. Something that, he's done back home in some places that people got spooky vibes or bad vibes from, that turned out to have a lot of cursed energy. And that's the fact that Asta was able to draw it in, focus it into a single point, and it kind of became like a little ball. He explains that he could do it with a person too, removing cursed energy, but it would always, flow back up in a certain sense. Or, the cursed spirit that was attached to Finral, once he killed that, the remnants of that cursed energy, Asta just naturally absorbed it in Euro. And they're like, your sword absorbed it? Yep. It's trying to constantly feed off of mine too, so it's a hungry bastard. It likes to use a lot more cursed energy. That's why its cuts are so sharp. It adapts with its cursed energy. Yami gets a little bit annoyed because it reminded him of Jack the Ripper. So he tells him, grabbing him by the head, don't get any ideas for leaving the Black Bulls for that green praying mantis, knowing the fact that his magic is very similar to this blade. Asta's just like, wouldn't dream of it, sir. So yeah, they go off and they meet Henry. Yami and Finral are at the door, and Henry's just like, hello, Captain. How are you? Who is he? Weak arm pointing at Asta.